Hello everyone, welcome back to my video. In this video, we will going to discuss about solution of end semester examination of data science. So here our first question and first part is how unstructured data is transformed into a format suitable for machine learning model. So answer is unstructured data such as text, images or videos must be converted into structured numerical formats for machine learning. The steps include: first step is text cleaning, which means remove irrelevant characters, punctuations, HTML text, etc. Second is convert text to lowercase. Second is tokenization, so split text into individual words or tokens. Step third is stop word removal. Remove common words like the, is, etc., which do not add significant meaning. Step 4 is lemmatization or stemming, which means reduce the words to their root form or base form. Example, running is converted into run. Step 5 is feature extraction. Use techniques like TF-IDF. Converts text into sparse numerical vectors weighted by term importance. Word embeddings. Dense vector representation but to wake lovebird. Step 6. Structured format. Represent data as numerical vectors or arrays for machine learning algorithms. Second part is importance of legal classification in grievance redressal. So legal classification plays a crucial role in grievance redressal by step 1 is streamlining process. Automates categorization of complaints into appropriate legal categories. Example, IPC section. A second is improved accuracy. It reduces human error in classifying complaints. Third is faster resolution. Prioritizes and routes complaints to the correct department. Fourth is ensure fairness. Provide consistent handling of grievances. 5 is enhance scalability. Handles large volume of complaints efficiently. Third part is how TF-IDF or word embedding can be used to extract features from complaint text. First is TF-IDF. Purpose: identify important word in the complaint by assigning weight based on their frequencies in the document and rarity across the corpus. For example, for the complaint theft of my mobile phone, the TF-IDF highlights theft and mobile as an important terms. Second is word embeddings. Purpose: maps word into a dense vectors capturing semantic relationship. For example, words like theft and robbery will have similar embeddings, allowing models to generalize better. Both methods help in transforming complaint text into a format suitable for machine learning classification. Now, our question 2 is life cycle of a data science project. So in this table we can discuss all the life science of data science project. So in this table there are 4 columns. First is stage, objective, key details and task or tools libraries. So first is define the problem. So its objective is clearly understand and define the business problem or research objective. So task, problem statement, accepted outcomes and scope of the project. Tools not available, problem specific discussions. So it is only dependent on the problem. Second is data collection, gather data from relevant sources. Its task is collect structured, semi-structured, unstructured data. Its tools are SQL, APIs, web scraping, Python, pandas. Third is data exploration and pre-processing, analyze and clean data to make it usable for modeling. And task is handling missing values, outlier detection and exploratory analysis. Libraries and tools are Python, pandas, matplotlib, seaborn and R language also. Fourth is feature engineering. So objective are select or create features to improve model performance. Key details are feature selection, extraction and transformation. Tools and libraries are Python, sklearn and feature tools. Fifth is model selection and building. Choose and build machine learning model based on the problem. Select algorithm, train models and tune hyperparameters. Python, sklearn, TensorFlow, PyTorch. Sixth is model evaluation. Access the model's performance on unseen data. Use metrics like accuracy, precision, recall and F1 score. Python, sklearn, matplotlib. Seventh is model deployment. Deploy the model into a production environment for real world use. Use APIs, cloud services or edge devices for deployment. Tools are Flask, Fast API, AWS, Docker. Eighth is monitoring and maintenance. Monitor the deployed model's performance and update as necessary. Details and tasks are track drift, retrain models and handle feedback loops. Tools libraries are Prometheus, Grafana, Python scripts. Ninth is communication and reporting. So objective are share finding and insight with stakeholders. Key details and tasks are create visualization, dashboard and reports. And tools libraries are Tableau, Power BI, Python, Matplotlib or Seaborn. This table covers the essential stages of the data science project lifestyle and can be adapted based on the specific nature of the project and its requirements. Let me know if you need further elaboration or any stage. Third question is, explain the role of text mining in automating grievance redressal system. List the key steps involved in pre-processing and unstructured text data. So, answer is role of text mining in automating grievance redressal system. Text mining automates grievance redressal system by extracting meaningful information from unstructured text data. Example complaints, feedbacks. Here how it contributes. So, first is automated categorization. Text mining classifies complaints into predefined categories. Example services, issues, theft, etc. Without manual intervention, helping route them to the right department quickly. Step 2 is sentiment analysis. Identifies the tone of the complaint, positive, negative, neutral, enabling prioritization of urgent or high priority issues. Third is efficient query handling. Automatically identifies key information, example, complaint type, location, issue, to resolve queries or trigger appropriate action. Fourth is pattern recognition. Detects trends or recurring issues, helping to improve services or resolve frequent grievances. Fifth is improved accuracy. Reduce human error in interpreting or classifying complaints, ensuring consistent responses and efficient problem solving. So key step involved in pre-processing unstructured text data in brief. So text cleaning. Remove unnecessary characters, punctuation and special symbol and convert text to lowercase. Second is tokenization. Split text into individual words or tokens for further analysis. Third is removing stop words. Remove common words, example the is, that don't contribute significant meaning. Step 4 is stemming lemmatization. Reduce words to the root forms running to normalize variation of the same word. Fifth is vectorization. Convert text into a numerical format using the methods like TF, IDF or word embedding. Example word to vec to prepare data for a machine learning model. So our fourth question is, explain the key difference between k-mean clustering and hierarchical clustering algorithms. What are the advantages of hierarchical clustering over k-means when visualizing cluster relationship? So the key differences between k-means clustering and hierarchical clusterings are: first, on base of clustering approach. So in k-means clustering, it based on centroid based partitioning. Hierarchical clustering based on agglomerative bottom-up or divisive top-down approach. Number of clusters. Predefined k cluster must be specified. No need to specify the number of cluster upfront. Third is cluster shape. Work best with spherical cluster. Can handle arbitrary shape cluster. Output. Flat partition of data into k cluster. Dendrogram tree structure showing cluster hierarchy. Computational complexity. So in these O and k minus 1 and depends on k iterations. More computational expensive. Initialization. Sensitive to initial center selection. No initial selection required. Handling outliers. Sensitive to outliers. Outlier effect centroids. More robust to outliers. Outliers are merged with nearest clusters. Scalability. Better for large data set. Not ideal for very large data set. Does not provide information on cluster hierarchy. Show relationship between clusters in the form of a dendrogram. So advantages of hierarchical clustering over k-means when visualizing cluster relationship. First is dendrogram representation. Hierarchical clustering produces a dendrogram which visually shows the hierarchical structure of clusters. This allows you to understand how clusters relate to each other at different levels of granularity, which is not possible with k-means. No need for predefined clusters. Unlike k-means, which require the number of clusters k to be predefined, hierarchical clustering allows the user to decide the number of clusters at any level by cutting the dendrogram. Third, better insights into cluster relationship. Hierarchical clustering gives a clearer view of how clusters are nested within each other, providing a deeper understanding of the similarities and difference between clusters. Fourth is flexibility with arbitrary cluster shapes. Hierarchical clustering can handle a complex shape of clusters unlike k-means, which assumes clusters are spherical. This flexibility allows hierarchical clustering to represent real-world data more accurately. In summary, hierarchical clustering excels in providing a visual and intuitive representation of how clusters are related, which can be particularly useful in understanding the structure of the data. K-means, while efficient for large dataset, does not offer this level of insight into cluster relationship. So here our next question is, write an algorithm to create two clusters from 2, 4, 10, 12, 2, 20, 30, 11 and 25. Write output for each round. So we can use the k-means clustering algorithm to create two clusters k is equal to 2 from the given data set. Below this algorithm is step by step output for each round. So algorithm for k-means clustering are: first is initialize centroid. Randomly select k initial centroid from the data set. So in this step we need to select a random k centroid from the data set. Assign points to cluster. Calculate the distance of each data point from the centroid. Assign each point to the nearest centroid. Third is update centroid. Calculate the new centroid of each cluster as the mean of all points assigned to the cluster. Repeat continue steps 2 and 3 until the centroid does not change changes are minimal. So in given data 2, 4, 10, 12, 2, 20, 30, 11, 25, we number of cluster k is equal to 2. So step by execution. Initiation, select two initial centroids randomly. For simplicity, let's pick the smallest and the largest values. C1 is equal to 2, C1 is equal to 2 and C2 is equal to 30. Round 1, distance from centroid. So distance of C1 of 2 is equal to 0, 2, 8, 10, 0, 8, 28, 9, 23. And distance to C2 30 is 28, 26, 20, 18, 28, 10, 19 and 5. Assign point to the nearest centroid is cluster 1, C1 is equal to 2, C2 is equal to 30. New centroid is C1 is equal to, we add all the values and calculate its mean, which is 6.83, and calculate mean of C2, which is 25.0. So in round 2 we calculate distance from centroid. So distance to C1 is this and distance to C2 is this. So assign points to the nearest centroid. We assign point to the nearest centroid, which means that C1 is equal to 6.83 and C2 is equal to 25. Now calculate new centroid, which is C1 is equal to 6.83 and C2 is equal to 25.0, which is not changed. So final cluster is C1 is equal to 6.83, which is 2, 4, 10, 12, 2, 11 and C2 is equal to 25.0, which is 20, 30 and 25. So output for each round is in first initial centroid C1 is equal to 2, C2 is equal to 30. In round 1 cluster 1 is this and cluster 2 is this. New centroid are C1 is equal to 6.83 and C2 is equal to 25.0. In round 2 cluster 1 is equal to 2, 4, 10, 12, 2, 11 and cluster 2 20, 30, 25. New centroid C1 is equal to 6.83 and C2 is equal to 25.0. I hope this video is helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.